What's up? It's Alexander Madison, running back from the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching Clock Management.
Hey everybody, it's November 11th, 2019. I'm Justin, and as almost always, I am joined by Perry.
Yo, Justin, are you multiple slimy sea creatures with tentacles?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's weird because you've been octopying my thoughts all day.
Oh man, I was thinking of sea urchins. I don't know why. I'm like, where's he going with this?
Sea urchins don't have
I
tentacles.
know, but that's where my head went. All right.
Octopi.
But you guys could catch our podcast YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. It's everywhere you want to be. I think that's MasterCard's slogan.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
We are MasterCard at this point.
Yeah. We're the Master Podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
So we just finished watching some Thursday Night Football. It's our Friday episode, so we got some drinks here. What you got over there, Perry?
I have a gin and tonic, but I made it with a lime Perrier.
Ooh,
Yeah,
fancy.
it's delicious.
I still had some rum from when I did the show with the Rum Boys, so I decided to have a rum and coke.
Okay, very nice.
Uh,
Thursday rum and coke. Thirsty Thursday.
Yep. Thirsty Night Football.
Thirsty night football. Ooh, that's a t-shirt right there. Trademarked.
No,
Trademarked.
we can't trademark it. The Rum Boys already used that.
Really?
Yeah, I stole it from them.
All right. Well, they nailed it. Good job, guys. Good job. I'm impressed.
Yeah, everyone's probably wondering why I'm wearing this. It's well, by the time you guys watch this, it's going to be Veterans Day, so I decided to wear my uniform. As I've talked about before, I am active duty military, so this isn't my Halloween costume. It's not an old episode. This is an actual uniform.
Yeah, man. Enjoy your Veterans Day, Justin.
I will do my best. I'm going to be spending some time with my wife. What you got going on over there, Perry? What's new with you? I know you got some exciting news.
Yeah. So we've been living with my brother for a few months now. My wife finished grad school. You guys know the whole story. You've been with me for the whole journey now. It sounds like she has a job. Finally got a job as an occupational therapist. She's officially licensed. Everything. It's been a lot of hoops to jump through. So very soon we'll be on our own, finally, with real jobs and our own house, and I won't be recording in a garage. So that's keep watching. This whole
The scenery
situation
will change.
it's gonna be changing. Yeah, spoilers.
I got a question for you, completely unrelated to any of that. When you write a 0, do you go clockwise or counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
Okay, yeah. So I'm weird.
Yeah, this is the United States. Wait, let me double check here.
Yeah, most people do apparently. I learned that
yeah.
today. Yeah, I
Yeah.
learned that. I do not. I do mine clockwise.
I think it's because we write left to right, and counterclockwise. If you start at the top, like everybody should when they write anything, it's like left to right. You know what I mean? Then your hand is all the way over here, and you're ready to go on to the next letter. But if you go this way, then I don't know. It's just weird. You're like crossing over yourself.
Yeah, I don't understand like that. You made me feel awkward just thinking about it because I tried to write one the way everyone else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel right.
Yeah. Well, you might as well be left-handed, Justin.
No, I'm not Joel.
At this point, you are Joel.
Don't you say things like that. We love you, Joel. All right, well, I think, did we get through? Yeah, that's all the things we had to cover on the agenda. I thought I missed something.
Do you want to chat about the game we just watched for a minute?
No, first, I want to talk about the most exciting news that we have. We're doing another giveaway.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was thinking long and hard about this, how I want to do this to include people, get you guys involved, help you guys be active with us. And we, just we want to be able to reach back and forth with you guys. Talk. Well, that sounded wrong.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
not what
weird.
I wanted.
That was weird.
Uh,
I don't endorse that message.
we want to be able to communicate with you guys effectively. So I decided that what we'll do is on our YouTube, you go on there, leave a comment on a video. That's gonna any video from here forward. That'll enter you into the jersey. Leave another comment on the next video. That gives you a second entry. So just comment on all of our videos, and you get entered a bunch of times. And that jersey is going to be a DeAndre Hopkins autograph jersey.
Very nice.
Yeah.
How long do you want to go? You want to go till the end of fantasy regular season?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Start of the
'Cause-
fantasy playoffs.
That's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, so you guys got 4 episodes to comment on.
Yeah. Comment.
All right, let's get
Leave
into this game.
Leave me some good jokes. I need jokes. I'm running out. Pickup lines. That's my thing. Okay.
The cornier, the better.
Yeah, Justin, I'd like to reach back and forth with you right now and talk about
do
this
it.
Thursday night
Oh,
game.
I'm ready.
Let's start with the Chargers. Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's the reason they lost. My bottom line.
Oh my
3 interceptions.
God, yeah. 4 interceptions. I think one got called back on a penalty.
Right. Yeah. So really rough. That's kind of his MO. He has all the talent in the world. He's obviously very good, and then he has a game like this. So they should have won this game. Bottom line. But I think they were trying to gift the Raiders for their last primetime game in the Coliseum. So that's my theory.
Yeah, and also the MO of the whole Chargers organization this season has been finding new and creative ways to lose games.
No kidding. I think there is a bright spot though here, and that is Melvin Gordon. 22 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. This is what we're looking for, right? He gets the bulk of the work. He goes over 100 yards with it. He gets in the end zone. That's great. I really like that. He also caught 1 pass for 25 yards, which is great, right? We want to see that out of Melvin Gordon. I will say it was a little worrisome right there at the end of the game when I didn't see him in at all. Obviously, Austin Eckler is very effective catching the ball, but so is Melvin Gordon. So
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that, but hey, I'll take what I can get here. I think this is probably going to be one of the last weeks you can go out and get Melvin Gordon for cheap. If you are going to try and go do it,
I feel like that boat may have sailed.
it may
at
have
this
after
point.
tonight.
Yeah.
Right. So go fish around, see what you can find out, see if you can grab him. But yeah, Melvin Gordon doing very well.
Yeah.
And then Keenan
Austin Eckler still did decent too. He's starting to fit into that pass catching role in there.
Right.
He was even split out in the slot a few times.
I think maybe he wasn't quite ready for that when Melvin Gordon came back, and that's possibly why he wasn't doing that yet. But yeah, you're right, and that's where I want to see him. Right, he's still a safe flex play because he's so involved in the passing game. He did find the end zone tonight as well. He did get 6 carries. It's not a ton of carries. Didn't do a whole lot with it at 19 yards, but I don't know. I do like Melvin Gordon going forward. I think it's only going to get better. Especially, he needs a contract. And so he's going to want to be playing for that. I will say Keenan Allen, 8 for 68. That's all he did. You might be able to go get Keenan Allen for cheaper than what he's worth right now. I would look at that. Go talk to the Keenan Allen owner, see what they need, and see if you can you can finagle something in for that. Let's jump over to the Raiders side of the ball real quick.
Real quick too, Mike Williams. If you're in a deeper league, you could probably snag him pretty cheap after this game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do expect him to rebound and do, decent, especially if you're in a 12-man league or something. Probably a solid flex going forward that you could probably get after this game for almost nothing because, he gave them almost nothing.
Sure. Okay, let's move on to the Raiders. Derek Carr had a very pedestrian night, 21 for 31, 218 yards and a touchdown. That's fine. I don't think a lot of us are starting Derek Carr, but if you did, he didn't kill you. So that's fine.
He's been
The bright
stuck in that school zone.
Yeah, that the bright star of the night for the Raiders was Josh Jacobs. Again, he was just fine. I know that you and I have been a little hesitant, a little worried. There's always an injury like designation with him every week. It's kind of scary, but then he comes out, does well. 16 carries for 71 yards and a touchdown. He had the game-winning touchdown. He also had 3 receptions for 30 yards. That's awesome. I love Josh Jacobs right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can't not start him if you have him on your team.
Yeah.
I do have a league where I have him and Melvin Gordon. I started both of them this week, and
Worked out.
yeah,
Worked out.
going pretty well. The other person had Mike Williams in, so
Nice.
going or not Mike Williams. What's his name? Raiders Williams.
Oh, Tyrell Williams.
Yeah, Tyrell.
And that did not go well for him.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from that game tonight. Raiders did win, by the way.
Waller did okay also in that game. Nothing that you're going to be hanging your hat on. He had, he still could be a top 10 tight end this year, after tonight's game, but he didn't have a great game. So nothing to brag about.
All right, moving on. Justin, you always want to talk about your Raiders, all right?
I know. We'll get back to them. Don't worry.
Okay, let's move on to some news. I do have a lot of news, so I'm going to move through it kind of quickly. AJ Green suffers a setback with the ankle. He's out indefinitely. This is what I said was going to happen. I stand by this. I've been saying it all year. AJ Green is unownable. I'm sorry. Do not own AJ Green. I'm sorry. I don't think he'll be playing for the Bengals, maybe ever again. James Conner is expected to miss this week. He missed last week as well.
I think real quick. I think AJ Green. I mean, he could end up playing during the fantasy playoffs.
I'm not starting AJ Green during the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, it's
no
brutal. In our league, for some reason, we still have an ad drop limit. We really got to fix that. My last ad drop was on AJ Green at the beginning of this week.
I saw that.
Yeah, tragic.
That was bold.
I didn't realize it was my last one.
I'm not touching AJ Green. If he plays and like out indefinitely, that's not what I want to hear.
No.
And if he plays week 15?
Yeah,
week 16?
I mean, I'm not having him on my roster. If he comes back, let's say week 13, 14, I'm probably still not grabbing him right then, but I might if he looks good, then I'm not going to rule it out that I might tell you to pick him up for like the last week or two.
I think they're so bad in Cincinnati that they're not going to, even if he's like, yeah, I could play, they're not going to play him. They want him healthy because they want to trade him in the offseason. That's how I see it. I see no reason for them to want AJ Green to play at all this season. Okay, let's move on here to James Conner. He's going to be out this week, unfortunately. Jalen Samuels is the guy, right? I think you and I have both said on this show in the past that Jalen Samuels should be owned by the James Conner owner, and this is why. So I like Jalen Samuels this week. I think he's an RB2, kind of a mid-pack RB2, so definitely startable. And I don't know if I would really even consider James Conner to be healthy going into next week as well, week 11. So just be prepared. You might be without him as we move into the playoffs here in the end of the regular season. Brandon Cooks, he's officially rolled out for week 10. Last episode, we did say that we didn't like him going forward to play with the concussion. He's traveling to meet a medical specialist that specializes in concussions. It's not good, man. If the concussion protocol alone, even if it was your first, keeps you out for a fairly long time. And this is his 6th or 7th or 8th or something like that. He's had a ton of concussions. Like I said, if he doesn't play again until like the end of the season or the playoffs, I wouldn't be that surprised. So I don't think anybody's been really relying on him right now. He just hasn't had that type of season. But I think it's good for Cooper Kupp and for Robert Woods. I really do. I actually think the team might play better with Brandon Cooks not on the field, which is kind of weird to say.
And as previously stated, I am contractually obligated anytime we mention Cooper Cup. Uh, I just you, I want to know if I should just buy it now.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on here. Evan Ingram is ruled out for Week 10. That hurts. I think a lot of people have been relying on him at tight end. He's one of the few tight ends that's like an auto start. That you just don't mess with it, right? It seems to work fairly well. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to play. He was cleared of a Liz Frank injury, which is good, but he will at least miss Week 10. He might miss some extra time. It might be kind of a similar situation. They're not doing anything into the postseason, so there's no reason to rush him back. I don't really like Rhett Ellison or Caden Smith at tight end if you're trying to fill it in. It is Delaney Walker is actually hopeful to play this week against the Chiefs, tight end for the Titans. I think I would almost go with Delaney Walker over somebody like Rhett Ellison if you're losing Evan Ingram. So
Yeah. Also, Chris Herndon is likely to play this week, according to the coach.
That might even be better than Delaney Walker.
Yeah.
But I think there's better options. So Adam Thielen, we spoke about him at length last episode. He's not feeling well. All kinds of weird jokes.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's going to miss Week 10. It looks like, which sucks for him, sucks for the Vikings. But Stephon Diggs, man, we saw it earlier in the season when Thielen was out. Diggs had huge games, so Diggs is in for me. He's definitely a start for me this week.
I'm definitely feeling that.
Yeah. Cam Newton, man, this news dropped, I'm pretty sure while we were recording the last episode, so we missed it. Placed on injured reserve, which is pretty wild.
Yeah. Do you think he plays for the Panthers ever again?
No, I don't. I think Cam Newton will be traded or cut this season.
What team do you think he gets traded to if you had to make a wild assumption that probably isn't going to be right anyway?
Well, I think if you think about the teams that need a quarterback, like Denver comes to mind, and I know, right, like I'm a Denver fan, but Denver comes to mind. Maybe the team in Washington, although they did just draft Dwayne Haskins, so I don't know. A lot of teams have young guys that they're trying to see if that works out.
What about the Tennessee Titans?
That's an option. I actually like that thought.
Yeah.
I think Titans or Denver. Denver does have Drew Lock. Or I was thinking even the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, depending on how things turn out with Big Ben, what he decides.
Yeah.
I
think Cam Newton can still play. I hope that he plays again. I hope he's successful. But I don't think it's going to be with the Panthers again, man. I think they found something in Kyle Allen that they like. They're going to move forward with that. So, I don't know. I wish him luck. This quarterback change doesn't make any sense to me, really. And that's Nick Foles starting for the Jaguars this week.
Yeah.
Why? Gardner Minshew has been good. He's led them to wins. He's played
Super
well.
Bowl MVP.
He's a top 10 quarterback in fantasy, which I know that the Jaguars don't care about, but he's been good. Gardner Minshew has not been an issue.
Yeah. Gardner Minshew played bad last week, and that he had one bad week. He hasn't been phenomenal every week, but neither has Nick Foles. Honestly.
This is a money thing.
Yeah.
They paid Nick Foles.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to be the starter this week.
Why did you draft Gardner Minshew? You drafted him because you're getting a quality quarterback at a discount. Go with that. Trade Nick Foles away or do whatever you need to get that money back.
Yeah, I think it's moves like this that keep a lot of teams out of the reach of teams like New England,
And
right?
obviously, we're past the trade deadline, but you could have did this weeks ago. You also could have when you already knew what Gardner Minshew was and what you had with him. But you could still do it in the off season.
Right. It feels weird to me. I feel like they're working right now, they're moving, and then all of a sudden they're going to take the most important position on the field that hasn't really been an issue and change it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
Uh,
fantasy
I
wise though, I think this a lot of people have been speculating on what this does to DJ Shark and DD Westbrook.
I
I think it
I
helps Westbrook slightly. I don't think it hurts Chark at all.
yeah, I think this is mostly a lateral move fantasy wise.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I agree. I think Nick Foles is going to have similar numbers to Gardner Minshew. I know in the past we've seen Nick Foles do incredible things, uh, but we've also seen Nick Foles be just terrible. So I don't know. It feels weird to me. I agree fantasy wise with you. I'm on the exact same page. Let's move on to Amari Cooper. He has a bruised knee. He is expected to play week 10, but I just wanted to bring it up to you guys. Be prepared. You never know. Things might pop up tomorrow, Friday, or I guess today, the day you're listening to it. That's the injury designation you want to look at. If it comes up doubtful or if there's some swelling or anything like that, Amari Cooper could miss, but he's expected to play at this point. So just be
which
prepared.
makes it all the more important that you guys follow us on Twitter because any news updates on those tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday morning, they'll be tweeted out. So you'll be able to make those adjustments accordingly. And I won't leave you hanging. Me and Perry will consult, and we'll give you some good players to start in his absence.
Yeah, in his stead.
Yeah, I thought about throwing that out there, but I went the absence.
Nice. Okay. Latavius Murray. This is Latavius Murray news because it's Alvin Kamara news. Alvin Kamara is going to play this week against a very, very juicy matchup. That's the Falcons. The Falcons are terrible on defense. I normally a guy coming back from injury after he's missed multiple weeks. He missed two. I'm a little hesitant.
Unless that player's name is Alvin Kamara.
And unless that player had a bye week, an extra bye week to heal, they thought about playing him 2 weeks ago. They didn't. They gave him the bye week, and he got a whole extra week to heal. And they're playing a horrible team, and he's a superstar. I'm starting Alvin Kamara personally. I am. I own him. I think everybody else should also start Alvin Kamara if you own him. Latavius Murray, though, I wouldn't. Obviously, not getting the numbers that we got the 2 weeks that he was a starter, but there's a chance that he's a flex play here.
Yeah, I'm probably not going out on that limb. I agree that there's a chance he could perform at that level. But just the utilization we've seen with Kamara being healthy hasn't been that great for Murray.
I just think that they might ease him in a tiny bit, and I think that Murray has been very effective, and they know that. And it's the Falcons.
Yeah, so that's a great matchup.
That's the only reason. I think there might be people that are like kind of stuck a little bit, and I think you might be okay starting Latavius Murray. Like he might find the end zone once, or he might catch. Probably won't catch very many targets, but I think he might find the end zone once. He might. So if it happened, I wouldn't be surprised. If he had 6 carries for 14 yards, I also wouldn't be surprised. So just Alvin Kamara is a go. Latavius Murray if you have to.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
David Johnson is ready to go. We talked about this last episode.
Is he?
Yeah. Well, intends to play week 10. So we talked about this last week when it came to Kenyon Drake and whether or not we expect to see what we saw last week with him going forward. I told you guys that if David Johnson was going to play, I wouldn't play either of them.
Yep.
And I stand by that. Now that David Johnson's telling me he's playing, I am not starting either of them. And I feel really bad saying it because they're playing Tampa Bay.
I know.
But
it's such a great matchup, but I mean,
can't trust them. I can't.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is.
You might be in a position where you have to, and I get that. and it might work out for you. But if you have even like an equal option on another, just I don't know, be ready for a real disappointing day. It could happen.
Yeah, and it's exactly. It's like, yeah, he could be worth it, or he could do what he did before when he said he was ready, and come in for one snap and leave the game.
Yeah, just prepare yourself. It could be bad.
Also,
It could be ugly.
just to give them a full picture on this too, Chase Edmonds didn't practice today. I mean, you still don't know if he's going to play because today's Thursday. It's, I mean, not looking good if he didn't practice today.
Yeah.
But make sure you pay attention to Fridays. If Chase Edmonds gets a practice in tomorrow and is going to play, then you definitely are not starting any of these running backs.
Yeah, it's a messy situation. Let's move on here to Patrick Mahomes. He logged a full practice session. That's good news. That was yesterday, Wednesday. He practiced again today. That's great news. I think Patrick Mahomes is a go. And if Patrick Mahomes is playing, you're starting him.
Yeah,
so.
he wanted to play last week, but the coaches did the right thing and kept him off the field, gave him that extra week. That's good to see them doing that. So, yeah, I agree. He should be good to go this week, and from here forward, playing him if you have him. I mean, if you have him, I told you guys you should trade him a couple weeks ago. I would have. But if you still have him, then you're playing him because, I mean, he's still Patrick Mahomes. So
yeah, this should be a boost for everybody on the team as well. Matt Moore played just fine, but he's not
surprisingly well.
Yeah, but it should be a boost for every player on the offense. So let's move on here to George Kittle. He did not practice on Tuesday. He was held out of practice with a knee injury. I couldn't find anything else more recent on him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring it up for you guys to be aware that there's a chance that George Kittle does not play this week or is limited. So just have options. Have options at tight end, which, I mean, nobody really has options at tight end. So sorry.
The good news on that is, I mean, nobody has options at tight end, so also the person you're playing against doesn't, and there's plenty of options out there that are going to get you similar points.
Yeah.
But Kittle's questionable. I have a beat writer from San Francisco that I pay close attention to as a San Francisco fan, and he practiced in a limited fashion today, and they're saying that he's questionable to play. So, not that cleared anything up, but that's what it is.
I know that sounded really ambiguous, but let me add a little ambiguity. Wait, is that a right word? Ambiguity?
I don't know. We're going with it, so.
Yeah, dude. I'm drinking a gin and tonic. I can say whatever I want.
Yeah, you got a gin and tonic. I got a Captain and Coke. So I mean, whatever you say, I got to go with it. You're obviously the smarter one. It's just more sophisticated drink.
Of course, I'm drinking a Christmas tree with lime.
Yeah.
Okay. What's there not to like? That was all the news I had. I know, a lot of news, a lot of injuries, a lot of question marks, but we're getting close here, guys. The regular season's almost over. Fantasy playoffs are almost here. I hope we're bringing you guys some championships with all this effort. So let's get into something that does not matter when it comes to the fantasy playoffs.
Now, this one I did not even have written down, but we're going to get into some news no one cares about. And when I was looking up the information about this beat writer from San Francisco to catch me up on that one, I came across this one. The 49ers signed a kicker this week. So, yeah, they now have 2 kickers on their roster.
First ever, actually.
Yeah.
First ever. Don't be
the 49ers, guys.
That's going to be a 30 for 30, man. What if I told you?
Right, yeah, you guys don't be the 49ers. Don't have 2 kickers on your roster.
No, don't. There's not a kicker in the league that's worth rostering.
Period.
2 of them.
Just don't have a kicker. Okay. So John Gruden, I told you we'd get back to the Raiders, Perry. 0-7 in challenges after tonight. Uh, Speaks a little bit on his decision making after tonight. He challenged a fumble that was clearly not a fumble, and also his team did not recover it. No one picked the ball up, but he challenged it.
Football genius. Okay, we don't understand. It's our fault. Move on. It's our fault.
Moving on. Moving on to even some worse news no one cares about. Antonio Brown says he will never play in the NFL again.
No one cares. Move on.
Yeah.
No, nobody was wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? That
Nobody was wondering.
hashtag XFL.
hashtag prison league.
Right? Is there a difference?
Oof. Hey man, we might not want to talk too much smack on the XFL. We might be podcasting for them soon, okay?
Oh my God, I can't wait for Fantasy XFL. I got to get people on board. I tried to do it with the AFL. No one was on board, and they folded before I could get a league started. Maybe next time. Jimmy G, he had a viral video this week. I didn't hear about it until I saw that he had a viral video this week as a headline, so I'm old. But his viral video, right? His viral video, Aaron Andrews asked him how he felt about the week, and he said, 8-0, baby. And people are making a big deal about it because he said baby to a female reporter. I felt like it's blown out of proportion because it's not like he was calling her baby, but
I feel like that's kind of like a saying.
Yeah, right?
I mean, if Aaron Andrews wasn't upset about it, then I'm not upset about it.
So. It's Jimmy G. She wasn't upset about it.
Get out.
She was probably blushing.
Move on. I'm going to blush here in a second.
Yeah, if Jimmy G said that to me, I'd probably blush. So, all right. One of the Browns players, we'll get into who, but he had a hilarious mouthpiece. I'm going to put multiple pictures up right over here. But he had a hilarious mouthpiece, a cartoon mouth that you guys all see, so I don't know why I'm even explaining it. But it was just fantastic watching him try and like defend passes with that thing in his mouth. Just Perry, I'll let you get into the second half of this.
His mouth got him into a lot of trouble. Well, actually, it was his Twitter fingers.
Yeah.
He was very upset after the game because a lot of people were telling him how terrible he did against Denver, that he just let guys run right past him. And his way of dealing with that was to get on Twitter and go on a racial, hate-filled like tirade before he even got his jersey and pads off. And it was so bad that the HR guys for the Browns came into the locker room and didn't let him get changed, escorted him out so he could change somewhere privately because they didn't want reporters to speak to him regarding what he had just tweeted. And then he was fired. So, well, I hope that was worth the $1 million+ a year job that you just gave up. Idiot. Just.
You're going to get berated on Twitter by him.
Bring it on, dude. I need the publicity. I need it. If like, I'm going to tell everybody to follow the show, guys. There's more where this came from.
Yeah.
I'm willing to call out Twitter morons all day.
and the nice thing about those is there's a never-ending supply.
Oh, there is a never-ending supply.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful place, Twitter, if you're just looking to laugh at people's bad choices.
Also, I'm not talking about all of you. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah. All our followers, perfect.
Yeah. If you're part of the management team, then you can join us in laughing at everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's one of the perks of being management.
Yep. Upper management. You just stare down at all the lemmings down below you.
The non-followers.
Yeah.
Oh boy. My
non-management.
There.
Ooh.
Okay. We're back. Okay.
All right. That's all the news no one cares about.
Yeah. Today, we're going to do some start sit, kind of our thing. Last few weeks, everybody seems to really enjoy it. So we'll just jump right into it because this one's going long, Justin.
It's not too long yet. I think we're going good because we had a limited amount of players on here because we were going to have a guest on, stepmom Lauren, but we seem to be plagued, and our last two guests now that we are supposed to have on the show, fell ill.
I think it's just because I'm intimidating.
Yeah, I mean you are. Sometimes I almost don't show up because of it. So,
I'm a true alpha.
but you guys should definitely go follow her on Twitter and YouTube. She does videos on YouTube and she's awesome. So
Yeah.
you should go comment on some of them. Let her know that Clock Management sent you.
Yeah. Hashtag management team.
Yep.
Well, let's do some start sit.
Awesome.
We'll start here with Le'Veon Bell over Mark Ingram. You starting Le'Veon Bell or you starting Mark Ingram, Justin?
Man, so this one's painful and personal. But I'm going with Mark Ingram here. It's not where I want to be going here, because I am the Le'Veon Bell owner.
Yeah.
But Mark Ingram, he looks 10 years younger and better than ever lately.
I want to hang my hat on Mark Ingram before you finish your thought here because I just want to enjoy it even more. That I liked Mark Ingram going to the season.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah, I completely admit I was wrong on this.
Yes.
Mark
I got
Ingram,
one.
yeah, because he's an older running back. I mean, there's reasons looking at it from the outside to not like him until you watch him play this season. He has defied my expectations. He's just doing awesome, but more importantly, Le'Veon Bell just had an MRI on his knee.
Yeah.
I mean, he says he's going to play. They keep talking it down like it's nothing. Same time, they sign a running back, and they said they did that so the Dolphins couldn't sign him, which seems stupid to me. You don't pick up a player on your team to try and make another team worse. You pick up a player on your team to make your team better. So if you're believing any of that, then you're an idiot. I'm sorry. They picked him up because they're worried about Le'Veon Bell. Well, obviously, that's why they had an MRI done on Le'Veon Bell's knee, because they're worried about Le'Veon Bell. I would as well. So I think he's going to play. I don't know about this week, hopefully. But going forward, he's going to play. I just don't know how much they start limiting his carries. And Mark Ingram has looked phenomenal. So Mark Ingram.
Yeah. My notes here basically said that week one, this question would have been laughable. While I did like Mark Ingram going into the season, it was mostly due to the fact that I knew there'd be a ton of volume there. Because it's a running team. I know Lamar Jackson has proven that he knows how to throw the ball. But going into the season, man, it was like they were going to run the ball, right? That was what we knew. And Mark Ingram's never been bad at football. And I just thought, volume, guy that's good at football, it should go well. But yeah, all the reasons that you mentioned why we shouldn't be starting Le'Veon Bell, that, and it's the worst offense in the NFL. So I'm not touching Le'Veon Bell right now. I'm really, really not. I guess if I had to, flex play. But I mean, Mark Ingram's an RB2, right? I think his floor is like low end RB2. His ceiling is like RB1.
Yeah. I mean,
so
to be fair, the Jets are a horrible offense, but they also play a bunch of other horrible defenses in the next few weeks. But yeah, he's still got all those injury problems as well. Yeah. So
I really don't like owning running backs on teams that can't move the ball. I get that he gets a ton of volume. I get that he's super talented, but eventually somebody has to help him get to the goal line for him to score.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's nobody doing it on that team right now. So I'm playing Mark Ingram.
And they have Robbie Anderson there who we'll talk about that later, but okay.
Let's
I'll
move
move
on.
on. Yeah. So the next one we have Tevin Coleman and Todd Gurley.
Yeah,
Again, something that'd be
Theodore Gurley.
ridiculous. Most of these would be ridiculous questions going into this season.
Yeah, I mean Todd Gurley. I mean you and I were full on board with Todd Gurley will not be Todd Gurley going forward, and I think this question, the fact that we're asking this question going into Week 10, proves that we were absolutely right. Um, the Steelers are the seventh best team against running backs in the NFL this season. And Todd Gurley is a shadow of what he used to be. I do not like Todd Gurley against the Steelers this week. He may find the end zone because that seems to be how his season's gone. Is he's pretty bad and then finds the end zone. Uh, Tevin Coleman's matchup isn't much better, but I feel like his floor is so much higher than Todd Gurley's that I can't play Todd Gurley over Tevin Coleman this week. I don't want to own Todd Gurley, period. So I can't tell you guys that I would start him, and so I'm starting Tevin Coleman over him.
I'm also on board with that. And to caveat onto what you said, Tevin Coleman is playing the Seattle defense, who just gave up a ridiculous amount of yards and fantasy points to every person on Tampa Bay.
Right.
I do believe the 49ers are their offense is, I would say, probably a tick better than Tampa Bay's. Their defense probably a lot better, but
It depends on how you look at it. As an NFL team, yeah, I think their offense is better. But as
yeah,
a fantasy, I mean, they just Tampa Bay just moves the ball right up and down the field. They turn it over four times, but they just move the ball up and down the field.
yeah,
But if you want to win a game, yeah, San Francisco is better.
yeah. And I just the fact that when they played Seattle, they were able to put up such great fantasy numbers. I mean, along with multiple other teams that played Seattle, Seattle's rested its hat on Russell Wilson this season. Like,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
their defense is not winning them games. So when you have offensive players on your fantasy team going against Seattle, you've been rewarded. So I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna start Tevin Coleman out of him, and like we said, like you were talking about, Gurley is not the Gurley of old.
And he never will be again.
No, so you should know that, and you should move on with your life and your fantasy team.
It's really sad, man. It's super incredible talent that is just unfortunately wasted due to injury. But the next start sit is Devontae Freeman or Jamal Williams. Kind of another one that we would have been kind of laughing at going into the season, but here we are. What do you think?
So I like both these players. I value them pretty equally. Jamal Williams, obviously the backup running back in Green Bay, but he's been productive even when Aaron Jones is on the field. So it's nothing to shy away from. Freeman has not been as productive as the past. He's been like a low end RB2 for the most part, or sometimes less. But Ito Smith also hasn't practiced this week. He is out today with a neck injury. He had the previous concussion. I think those factors help Freeman's numbers. And because of that, I'm gonna go with Freeman. This one's a close one for me, though.
Yeah. So the Saints are third against the run, and Freeman is playing the Saints.
Yeah.
Freeman's been I'm gonna say terrible all season because of where we drafted him. So I also have kind of seen a trend that Green Bay plays its best when Jamal Williams is involved, and I think that they're going to get back to that this week. They're going to try and get him involved, where in the passing game essentially, right? He's not going to get a ton of carries. He'll get he'll get his normal amount of carries that he's been getting. So I'm actually going to take Jamal Williams in this one. I just don't trust Devontae Freeman. I don't trust the Falcons, and I think the Saints defense is just good and is too good.
I,
So
no, I don't blame you at all. I agree with you. I think the majority of Freeman's points in this game are going to come in garbage time with some dump off passes and some
possibly,
screens, things of that nature.
possibly.
Without Ito Smith in, he'll be their only option really there. So
There,
that's where you're going to be looking for your points from him.
yeah, you're right though. This is one of the closest ones for me as well.
This next one, again, ridiculous. Week 1, ridiculous. People would laugh at you if you even consider drafting these two people in the same, I don't know, 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So we got Marvin Jones and Odell Beckham Jr.
So I'm going to answer this way. Nick Chubb is the only person on that team that I am starting. Do I need to go on? Just okay. No, I will. And the reason being is the Browns are a team of super talented players, but they're all individuals, and there is an issue somewhere in getting that team to play as a team. Odell Beckham is still good at football, right? I don't think you and I are going to dispute that at all. He is still good at football, but he's on a team that doesn't know how to use him, or he doesn't know how to work with the team.
He's
or
on
he
a
doesn't know
team
how to
that doesn't know how to football.
Exactly. There you go. Right. So I'm not starting Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not starting Jarvis Landry. I'm not starting Njoku. I think Njoku might be hurt now. Doesn't matter. I'm not starting Baker Mayfield. I'm starting Nick Chubb. We'll see how Alvin Kamara does this week. That's a whole nother conversation. I know we've talked about that in the past.
Alvin Kamara?
Sorry, not Alvin Kamara.
Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Thank you.
That's what I thought you meant, but I was a little thrown off.
I think, yeah, we can talk about that later if we want to, but we're talking about Marvin Jones, no BJ. I'm sorry, I'm not starting anybody but Nick Chubb on this team. Marvin Jones has been great, and Matthew Stafford's been great. That team's been getting better. They've been moving the ball. Obviously, Marvin Jones is the better play here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with you. I mean, I don't think I even need to talk anymore about how I've been steering clear of Odell Beckham Jr. since I think preseason
week 1. Yeah,
preseason week 1.
You called it.
Yeah.
You absolutely called it. So, yeah, let's move on. I don't think we need to talk about that a whole lot.
Calvin Ridley and Curtis Samuel.
Oh, okay. I get to go twice in a row.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll let you. Yeah, I'll go after that.
Yeah. So this one was actually pretty tight for me as well, just because I think the Falcons are bad for some reason. But then you look at they just throw the ball a ton.
Yeah, because they're losing.
Yeah, they are always losing. There's a ton of volume. Calvin Ridley's a good player. He's not just a good player just this season. He's been a good player for multiple seasons now. I'm gonna go with Calvin Ridley just based on volume. That's the only reason I expect him to be down in this game. I expect them to be throwing a lot. That's it. But Curtis Samuel, it's nothing on him. He's proving to be a fantasy asset. Next season, it wouldn't be surprising to me if he's more valuable than Calvin Ridley. But as of right now, I'm gonna stick with Calvin Ridley. But it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about it being close. This was probably my second hardest choice out of these. I'm going with Curtis Samuels. I've gone against him a few times, and every time, when I was setting lineups for other people, helping them set their lineups, every time I have said not to start him, he scored a touchdown and had a good game. So
now you're saying to start him.
Yeah, so he's probably not going to do any of that.
Go with me, guys. Go with me.
No, but like I said, this is a close one. These two younger players that I like both of them a lot, and I'm with the Panthers and Kyle Allen. I'm trusting in him.
Yeah.
And they seem to have a connection there. I really like just how their team is. Calvin Ridley has looked great, and like we talked about that their offense, their whole team has just been horrible. So that's the only part that worries me is it could be great for him. You could feast off them having to throw the ball, or it could go atrociously bad, which is the same with Freeman though, and I went with Freeman, so I don't have a good argument for doing that.
Yeah.
But that's just what my gut is telling me in that situation.
Okay. Yeah, that one was close for me as well. It's funny that we only disagree on the ones that are super close.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. That is Michael Gallup and Juju Smith-Schuster. I think the theme of this week with these start sits is like, hey, look at this huge name, and then look at this other guy that nobody was talking about, and now we don't know which one's better.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah,
kind of funny
for fantasy at least,
for
which one's
fantasy.
better.
Yeah.
Because like Odell Beckham Jr., Marvin Jones, Odell Beckham Jr. is obviously better, but doesn't necessarily translate to fantasy points.
Right.
But with this one, I am going with the bigger name here. I'm going with Juju. It's rough when you look at the fantasy points, but I do think he has to be the number one receiver there, and he's gotta, like, he needs to perform there. And Gallup, I mean, I like Stafford. They have the better quarterback there, which is better for those numbers. But I
No,
think,
he's on Dallas.
oh, I'm
Michael
sorry.
Gallup's
I'm sorry.
They still have the better quarterback there.
Yeah, with Dak. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The analysis still stands.
Yes. But I just think Juju is the better player of the two, which I know I just said that with Odell Beckham, but this can translate here with the Steelers to fantasy points. They're just still figuring things out there with their new quarterback that they weren't planning on using. And he has been maturing and looking better.
So this one was very close for me as well. I picked Juju to be a possible number one overall receiver this season. Going into it, I thought he might be the number one fantasy receiver coming out of the season. That was when Big Ben was healthy, but I know it was a little bit of a long shot, but man, going back to last season, he looked so good. That's obviously not going to happen this year. I'm going to take Juju this week as well. And it's mostly due to matchup. I do think that Michael Gallup and Juju right now are about fantasy equal, just because Juju has nobody capable throwing him the ball. But I think the Vikings are a tougher matchup than the Rams defensively. So I'm going to take Juju Smith-Schuster, but it's kind of like doesn't feel very good, I guess. I don't trust him to do super well. He's had like a 7-yard game and a 13-yard game and a couple I think he has one more really low yardage games with no touchdowns. It's been a little ugly. So yeah. I'm going to take Juju though, but if Michael Gallup beats him, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah. What about, so next one, we're moving to some quarterbacks here. We got Kyler Murray and Matt Ryan.
Yeah. So going into the season, I think we've been talking about that a lot. But going into the season, I was a huge Matt Ryan believer. I drafted him for my main league. He did well, right? He got injured, unfortunately. So now I don't have Matt Ryan. I have Drew Brees. So that's cool. But they both have great matchups. But I'm going to go with the guy I know is healthy, and that's Kyler Murray, actually, against Tampa Bay. I think that he's going to run the ball effectively. I think he's going to throw the ball effectively. I think he's going to score both on the ground and through the air. I don't think Matt Ryan's going to have a bad day fantasy-wise, but I'm going to go with Kyler Murray, man. I think, to be completely honest with you, I think it's going to be more fun to watch. More fun to cheer for, and I don't think he's gonna have. I think he might have a better day than Matt Ryan overall.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm going Kyler Murray here. I do disagree with you about Matt Ryan though. I think he's gonna have a bad day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, against New Orleans defense, I think it's gonna be a really bad game until later in the game.
And we don't really care until the end of the game, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's the fantasy that matters. I think 400 yards and 3 interceptions with 3 touchdowns is a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have that many yards though. I think it's gonna be brutal for him in the first. He's gonna end your game, like, you're gonna be really upset you started him for the first 3 quarters, and then at the end of the game you're gonna be like, okay, that wasn't that bad.
Like going to the doctor to get a shot.
Yeah. But Kyler Murray, on the other hand, he has their team just as a whole, but him specifically, he's made leaps and bounds as a quarterback. He from week one, where you're like, this was the number one overall pick, like
Yeah.
he shouldn't be playing in the NFL. To now, he looks like a legitimate quarterback out there. It's ridiculous how much he's
Yeah.
progressed. So I like watching him run around. He reminds me of a young Russell Wilson. He's the way he's like dodging these tackles and then just launching the ball down the field. So or he likes to take off with it too, which Russell did in his early years.
Yeah.
So I like watching him, and he's going against this Buccaneers defense that, like we were just talking about with Seattle, they love to give up fantasy points. It's a hobby of theirs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm on board with that hobby. I'll start a quarterback against them.
Yeah. I'm rolling Kyler. All right, man. I'm gonna send one to you.
Oh,
Okay. Now I want you
nope.
to be good here. Okay. Jimmy G, the hot one,
Yeah.
versus Jared Goff, the not one. Just made that up right now.
I like it. I like it.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as I can here.
Uh-huh.
It's not gonna happen. I'm going with Jimmy G. So Jimmy G, like I just talked about with the Buccaneers, how they give a hobby of theirs is giving up points to fantasy quarterbacks, and that was apparent last week with Russell Wilson. But it happened on the other side of the ball too. And now the 49ers are going up against the Seahawks. And just like I was talking about with Kyler Murray making leaps and bounds, the last 2 weeks since the 49ers have a legitimate number one wide receiver, they look like a completely different team that can all of a sudden move the ball down the field. Yeah. So I love that about them. And then Jared Goff is going against the Steelers. Steelers have actually been pretty good at stopping the passing game from opposing quarterbacks for fantasy purposes. Yeah. So I'm not sold on Goff. He hasn't been the same player he's been. He's not nearly as bad as when he had Jeff Fisher as his coach, but
don't you say that name on this podcast.
Yeah, every time you say his name, a Ryan brother gets a job.
You made me so mad I almost spit right here on the floor.
But yeah, so I'm going with Jimmy G.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna go with Jimmy G.
Yes.
That felt wrong. But
Oh.
you know what else feels wrong? Watching Jared Goff throw horrible passes to his super talented wide receivers every week.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Jared Goff this season. I really don't. They've wrapped that kid in so many talented players that it's incredible that they aren't like undefeated. I'm not joking. Yeah. That's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jimmy G. I don't think he's going to have a 4-touchdown week again, but I think he'll throw for 270 and 2 touchdowns. He might run for 40 yards or something like that. He'll be just fine. But Jared Goff could go up and play Pittsburgh and throw 3 interceptions. I mean, I don't know. Jimmy G should be just fine this week. So I'm gonna play Jimmy G.
Yep. All right, we got one left from this one came in as a flex possible starts. We got David Montgomery, Christian Kirk, or Robbie Anderson.
Monty.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with you. I love both these young wide receivers. I said we'd get into Robbie Anderson. I think he's a great talent there that just is underutilized, and the quarterback just can't seem to find him on the field.
Robbie Anderson with an effective quarterback, please.
Yeah, I really hope that he ends up on a different team next year.
Yeah, I mean, we always bring up New England, right? But I always feel like New England like unlocks players like true potential. I'd love to see him go somewhere like that, or maybe even like
Yeah.
I guess we're not gonna talk about that now.
Yeah, we'll get into that
speculate
another
off the
time.
show.
Yeah, that'll be
Right.
off-season talk. Off-season talk. We'll get into that. But yeah, so I feel like that one's an easy pick with David Montgomery. That apparently Matt Nagy is not an idiot. He's starting to understand that he drafted this guy at that high of a draft pick for a reason.
Yeah, David Nagy's not an idiot. He just plays one on TV.
Yeah, so that's all of our start sits for this week, guys. We appreciate you guys joining us, and we will see you next week.
Comment.
Yeah,
on this video, on the next video, on the video after that, and the video after that. Win yourself a jersey.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor.
That should severely limit or increase your chances of winning. It's not going to be out of 300 this time, guys. Well, or maybe it will. I mean, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, Justin plays an idiot on a podcast. Okay, prove him wrong.
Please.
Peace out.